Hi, it's Maria here. I just wanted to preface this episode by saying that we tried to film it on the camera and we couldn't get it to work for this one, but we are going to have video footage for the other episodes, so just bear with us for that. Also, for this first episode, we decided to do a recap of our first year of postgrad and just reflecting on that since we're coming up on 1 year of being out of school. But then the rest of our episodes are going to be more funny stories, sharing our life, definitely a little bit more light-hearted and less advice-based, but this is just what we wanted to share for our first intro episode. So anyways, here's the podcast. Hi, I'm Maria.
Hi, I'm Keely.
And welcome to our podcast. Okay, so if you know us, you're probably wondering exactly what we're doing.
We're just having fun.
We're just having fun here. I personally would love to listen to girls in their 20s, our age, going through life, just sharing what their lives are like. That's what I'd rather listen to than just influencers talking about whatever, like just because it's more relatable. And so since I was thinking I would love a podcast of girls just going through their life, that we should make it.
I completely agree. And also I feel like a big thing is I've been realizing how much in my life I'm forgetting. And I feel like by documenting and talking about it, I'll remember. I went out to dinner the other night with my friend and he was telling me the story from junior year of college. And I have zero recollection of it. Zero. And I'm like, how many other funny memories in my life do I just have that are just lost and gone in life?
Right.
And that's really sad.
Well, I'm the same way. I have a journal. You know, I have my journal since 2016. Every day I have written down, like it's not a long thing, but it's just what I did that day because I have a terrifying fear of forgetting my entire life.
It's the biggest fear.
Which is why this is also documentation. And we're also saying this will just be therapeutic. Like, talking things out, and we have a lot to say, just like funny stories, but also just like our experiences with everything.
And I think you're right, it's more realistic to hear two girls just like kind of doing normal life but also still having the drama of just being a girl in your 20s, just like with boys and work and friends and life. It's just like the silly little things that happen to us all the time.
Totally.
Like, it's just fun, and everyone has those silly little things, so I think it's just fun to share. And it's also like kind of what keeps the fun alive post-grad, if that's what you want to call it.
No, totally, because I'm such an advocate for having fun in your 20s. Like, I hate the narrative that you just stop having fun after college. So we graduated, if you don't like actually know us somehow, if you found this, we graduated last year. In a couple weeks it'll be a year.
We're hitting a year.
We're hitting a year. This time last year I was so scared about graduation, and they make it seem like your life is ending when you graduate. I was thinking, like, they don't really prepare you for, you've been in school your whole life. And everyone is on the same path, like going through all of school, and you're so similar, and then suddenly you're just in the real world and everyone's doing such a different path, and it's really scary, and people are like, oh, welcome to the real world, and they don't really emotionally prepare you for that. I feel like it's very just throwing you into the deep end.
It's basically like you're screwed, we're all miserable, we have no time to do anything. And yeah, that could be true in some cases, but if you make the time and the effort to do so, it's a lot easier said than done too.
Yeah.
Not that it's all glamorous.
No, it's not all glamorous, and it's not like we wake up every day obsessed with everything we have to do, but I feel like us and our other friends, we're really good about making the most of our time. You're 22 for a week. I'm 23. Like, we're so young, and I kind of hate this narrative that's going on lately of just that your life is over once you get to 23. And I feel like everyone on the internet posts about how miserable they are and like how life sucks, and just, it's not helpful. Like, this time last year, it was not helpful for me to see people talking so negatively about their 20s and then not having fun. It's not helpful to just have all that negativity. So if you want to listen to a podcast about us having fun and doing fun things, this is the one for you, because we promise your life doesn't end when you're 22. And that sounds obvious, but they kind of make it seem that way. Yeah. And I have a lot of friends that are, like, my sister is a year younger. Shout out Leah.
I was gonna say, not the Leah drop. I've been waiting for it.
And a lot of my other friends now that are a year younger, they're just so scared. Like, it's just scary to graduate.
It's also the pressure of the getting the job and the expectations. Like, when I was graduating college, I knew I was moving back home. And I was like, okay, in a year from now, I need to have this, I need to have this, I need to have this. by the way, I've hit the point of where I said I'd have all those things, and I don't have a lot of them. But that doesn't mean that I'm a loser. A week ago, I thought I was a loser, and I had a mental breakdown. And then I realized that being negative is not going to help me. And as easy as it sounds, like, I chose to be upset with my life, and I chose to dwell on the things that weren't working out. But then the next day, I just was like, okay, that did nothing for me. That made me feel worse. And then once I started to be positive again and just be like, okay, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to have fun, like, everything changed. For example, one of the things I was like, by my next birthday, I will have my own apartment. And yeah, I don't have that, but that doesn't mean I'm like a loser or my life's going down the drain. It just means that I didn't hit a milestone. Honestly, all it means is that I'm living at home still, and that's fine. It doesn't mean anything else than that. But I feel like when you're graduating, it's like you have to find an apartment, you have to have a job, you have to have all these savings, you have to have this, you have to do the whole everything just to seem like you're in good standing with like how you're supposed to look post grad. But that's so unrealistic, and if you put that pressure on yourself, that's what's going to make you not happy. But if you just live your life and have all the fun you want and not put all these standards on yourself because everyone else's life looks different, you would never, ever be happy.
Preach, Keely. But it is true. There's going to be days, like if you're listening to this and you're not graduated yet, like there are going to be days post-grad that you just had enough.
You've had enough.
Like you hate your life, you're just stressed out. But there are moments, like it's life. There's moments, let yourself feel the negativity, but then like move on and realize, okay, like you're allowed to have your moments, but just don't dwell on it.
And like it's so easy to be sad, and it's so easy to spiral. Like misery loves company. So if you choose to be like, oh my God, my life is not the same, that's actually a good thing, because you don't want to live the same life every day. And like that's kind of how college is sometimes. And as fun as it was, I feel like cutting it off at a certain time period is what makes you appreciate it way more. Like I miss college so much. Not necessarily if I don't know if I would want to go back right now, because I don't think I can drink like I used to.
Literally.
And it was really expensive going out all the time and wasn't really good for the physicality of my well-being. I know I had so much fun, but if you do that every single day, you don't want that. And so being able to then change it, and then it makes those times where you do go out on a Saturday and you have a lot of fun, or even if you don't go out and you're not drinking, you're just like hanging out with friends, that makes you even more happy. It's like, oh, I used to have this every day and now I don't. It makes you appreciate all the fun that you did have every day together.
Totally. No, I totally agree. You have so much fun in college, but then if you were to live that same life every day, you eventually would get like sick of it in a way. And now we don't take all of our times together for granted.
Oh my God, never. We always make the most fun of it. We're always like just being silly, having fun. And it's also so exciting to like see your friends again. Even to like, I'll go 3 days, but it's like those 3 days in college were spent 24/7. Now it's like, oh my God, I missed you. I love you.
Right. You like appreciate things more in a way. And that's a good thing. Everything feels more special, I guess, if that makes sense. But I want to go back to what you were talking about with the comparison. There's so much pressure and expectations. Like you graduate with a job and you have this apartment lease ready and you have all this stuff, and it's so hard not to compare yourself to other people. I think what we've both realized this year is everyone's life path looks so different, and it's weird because you grow up with the exact same basically life path as everyone else, and then there is this pressure and these milestones. So if you're watching this right now and you don't have a job, you're okay. Like
you're okay.
It's actually crazy though how much pressure is put on college graduates to just have their life figured out.
It's crazy too, because when I was younger and I heard of someone who was 21, I was like, oh my God, when I'm 21, I'll be an adult, I'll have kids, I'll be married. I couldn't be further from that.
Further.
And it's like so crazy that you grow up thinking that someone who's 21 is an adult, someone who's 22 is an adult. Oh my God, I don't know one freaking thing about being an adult. I can try my best for sure, but like a 21-year-old, you are so young. Like you should not have anything figured out because you still have so much time to figure it out. But when you're in school, it's like you have to have this, you have to have that. And like your first job also does not define your future, and your first job does not define like who you are. Take the job you can and then figure it out. Do not worry about it. It does not define what your life's going to be. But it's just scary because there is all this pressure of people even just saying in the bar, like, what's your plan after college?
The worst question. I will never
don't you dare.
I will never ask a college graduate. I'm not kidding. Ever in my whole life, am I going to ask a college grad, where are you working next year?
Like, mind your business.
Mind your business. April, May, everyone's like, oh, what are your plans? Where are you moving? What is your job? And it's crazy how...
It's like I can barely pay for my Benz bomb.
It's just so much pressure, and I don't know why it's not talked about more. There should be a senior class, like if you're a senior in college, like just how to do that transition. They could talk about important life things like taxes, health insurance. Oh, I don't know any of that. In case you're curious, I don't know any of that yet.
By the way, I don't even know what a W-2 is, and I just received one in my email.
We don't know any of that yet.
Don't ask me.
And then they could also go into...
none of my business.
None of your business. They could also have a psychology thing of just how to deal with that transition. Like, it's a crazy transition, and that's why I feel like it's just scary.
First of all, just even acknowledging that it's been a year, how much my life has changed. It's flown by, first of all. Mm-hmm. Second of all, if I had to even picture where I was, I would probably think I would have had a new job by now. Mm-hmm. I probably still would be in a relationship if I was picturing my year from now. I, again, would have moved out of my house.
Oh, yeah.
And going back to those three things I would have envisioned myself having a year ago, let's think now. New job, no boyfriend, still living at home. So none of those things have happened.
None of those things have happened. And that's fine.
And that's fine because I couldn't be happier.
Your life is great. And you don't need all those things. But in the moment, it's so easy to have that. Yeah. Just that pressure built up of yourself.
Exactly. And like, I held on to those things for so long. But with those three things, I know that it was for the better to kind of let things like that go. It just kind of all worked out for the better. And it's just crazy because what I thought was the right thing to do wasn't actually the right thing for me. And it's just crazy how the universe or whatever you believe in just kind of will make things happen for you in the timeline it should be. And ever since I've adopted that mindset, my whole life has turned upside down. Like, my job looks different. My life looks different. So many things about my life have been so good. It's just crazy how your mindset and your attitude and your positivity can really transform your whole life.
I agree. I think that's the thing about having a timeline. It's so normal, I feel like, to have, like, it's just natural to have timelines in your head of, you know, where you want to be and how long you think things are going to last for. But letting go of that and just letting go of this expectation of timelines is actually I feel like it's an important skill that people do get, like, within that first year of postgrad, because your life is going to look so different. And you might think you know the time that's best, but you don't actually a lot of the time. And it's for a lot of different aspects, whether it's like work, your living situation, relationships, friendships, getting rid of the expectation of by this time I need this, by this time this is going to happen. I feel like just kind of takes that weight off your shoulders. That's a skill we both have, is not putting too much pressure on this needs to happen then. And I feel like it really does transform your life in a way, because you just feel free, and it's like, okay, like, what's meant to come to me will come to me then. And what's meant to happen will happen in that timeline.
And it's kind of more fun that way, kind of just letting yourself be like into the unknown, because then you don't have those expectations. So when things happen again, you appreciate it more. Those little gifts that kind of just like pop up into your life mean so much more because you weren't expecting them to happen.
Totally. I love that. Okay, this is also like a reflection on the last year of postgrad episode. And then we'll do some other ones that are more like,
trust me, we don't
stories.
We don't dwell on college every day.
No, but it is like a reflective time. It's been a year, and I feel like we've learned a lot. So I think we should do the pieces of advice that we would recommend. I'm going to recommend for my number one thing is really putting time and energy into your friendships and really just making your friendships a priority. And that can be small things. Like, we go for walks and we just hang out. Well, sometimes Keely is a little bit far away.
I'm a little
but
far
just
away.
You're so good about like coming to see us. So basically Keely lives 25 minutes from here? 22 minutes exactly from here. And I see you 2 times a week?
2 times a week, and then like all weekend.
And all weekend
on a good weekend.
And we're people that really invest time and effort into our friendships. And you know, if we can't see each other, we're always texting, we're always calling. And I'm not saying you have to be 24/7 talking to your friends, but just putting effort in, because if you don't put effort into your friendships, like, easier post-grad for you to drift apart.
Yeah.
Like if we didn't put effort in, I wouldn't see you that much. And we wouldn't talk that much. You have to put the effort in.
There was a big part post-grad when I had a little bit different of priorities graduating. I feel like a big priority within that priority was my routine and schedule. And it was like, I have to wake up at this time, and I have to go to the gym, and I have to go to work, and then I have to go home, and then I have to eat dinner, and then I have to be in bed at a certain time. And it was like this same cycle every day. And I just felt like I didn't have time for my friends. And I feel like there was a big moment at the beginning of graduation where I was not around. I was honestly just really focused on routine, which in the long run did help me. That's not a bad thing. I definitely do appreciate my discipline, I guess, at the beginning. Once that came to a closure, my routine kind of changed, and I was like, I can hang out with my friends after work. If I go to bed at 9:30, I'll live. Yeah, I'll be dang tired in the morning, but I'll have a cup of coffee and I'll live. And it was just that prioritizing, as you said. Again, you don't want to live the same day every day, but it does really help when you go see your friends.
Right. And it doesn't also have to be just on the weekends. Like you spend all this money and go out, and it can literally be coming over for a walk or let's make dinner. Keely has work tomorrow and she's just sleeping over and gonna go to her work tomorrow. Like
it's a school night.
It's such a school night. You don't have to be texting 24/7. You don't have to be doing crazy things, but just checking in on your friends, like making little times throughout the week. It doesn't have to be this huge effort, but it really goes a long way. And I feel like us and our friends that are in Scottsdale, I'm seeing my friends, besides my roommate Danielle, shout out Danielle, Danielle name drop. I see friends probably every other day, if not every day. Like there's probably been weeks, all 7 days I've seen a friend, and I'm really, really lucky to have that. But it's because we all put effort in. Yeah. If we didn't put effort in, we wouldn't see each other or just like be in communication the way we are.
And I feel like kind of why I was so upset and felt like a loser was because my work schedule is very strict and I do live far. So a big thing for me was, oh my God, I'm missing out on these times with my friends and they're so much happier and I'm just like locked in this office all day and they're having so much fun and I'm missing out. And that might have been a little bit true, but that's just what another thing you kind of have to realize, that everyone's life is different than yours. And that again is a good thing, because if you focus on yours being bad, you're just going to spiral about it. So you have to find the good things in your life and not compare yourself. And again, that goes back to the TikTok of it all. You see what other people are doing and you're like, my life doesn't look like that. And I think I kind of spiraled for a moment there where I felt like, oh my God, I don't have as much fun and I don't have as much free time and I am just in this gray office all day. And again, while that is true, like I still ended up going to the hangout. I didn't miss anything and my friends were happy to see me. It's not like, oh, where have you been?
Okay, what's your next piece of advice that you would give to yourself a year ago?
Oh God, if I had to give myself advice, don't have pressure of having a good night when you're out.
That's such a good one. We need to unpack this.
That was groundbreaking.
Revolutionary.
People died here. But there's not a lot going on in Old Town per se. I'm not sure about everyone else's neck of the woods, but in Old Town Scottsdale, yeah, it's a little familiar all the time. And I've definitely gone into a few nights having all these expectations and maybe a few parlays on the night to try to hit.
Such parlays on the night. Wait, we need to do backstory. Now I'm shouting out everyone.
Okay. Cindy name drop.
Cindy name drop. Cindy gave us the idea to parlay like your night. So you basically say like, will I get someone's phone number? Yes or no. Will I kiss someone? Yes or no. Will I get home before 1:45? Yes or no. And so we like to sometimes, well, we've only done it a couple times. We need to do it more. We just started. But like we'll write out our options and then you pick like yes or no, and then you see how the night goes and like you put your bets in, and then the next day recap and see, okay, this is how it went.
And honestly, that's way more fun than us a few weeks ago being like, I need to do this tonight. Like I need to kiss a boy tonight, which I've definitely done a few times. And when I don't, I'm like, well,
having expectations about a night out is a big thing because it's so different. Also, I feel like going out now, we kind of are seeing new random people all the time versus like going out in college, we'd see the same characters all the time, which is really fun to see the same characters. But then when you're going out here, we're both single. So we'll be like, oh, we want to see a new cute guy out. You don't want to feel disappointed with your night out just because you didn't meet a guy, you know?
I feel like hookup culture in college was so prominent where it's like everyone's going home with someone, everyone's flirting, everyone's doing the whole nines. But when you're older, that's not everyone's first priority anymore. So I think we're still kind of learning. Just because we don't kiss a guy or even talk to a new guy doesn't mean anything. You're opening up a whole new field of people in general. People from ASU, people who are just older, people who are
totally
visiting Scottsdale in general because it's such a big hotspot for sports and bachelors and all that stuff. That's not everyone's first priority anymore. Where in college it was like, that's kind of what it was, especially when you were single. So I feel like just kind of having that mindset is just a little bit different, especially when you're newly single. I feel like that's kind of something I needed, that validation to know that I was fine. And when I didn't get it, I was like, okay, there must be something wrong with me.
Right.
And obviously I've had a few talking stages and you just kind of get so hung up. That's just not what's important to me anymore once I've learned that. But it is fun to kind of throw it in a parlay.
What I've realized now is I want to have fun with my friends when I'm out. And if I meet a guy, fun. But I don't want my whole basis of if I have a good night out. Because we only get so many nights. Like, we go out on the weekend, like, every weekend. Or at least I do. That's still a lot. But I'm just saying, you don't want to ruin your time out. That's more precious now than it used to be.
Exactly. Realistically.
Worried about a guy.
4 times a month we go out.
Ew, that's so, like, lame.
Where it used to be, like, 4 times a week.
Right. You don't want to waste that time. And it's more about pressure on yourself. Being single, they always say you're going to find someone you least expect it, which I still believe, even though I've been not expecting it and I haven't found anyone.
Okay, but, not expecting it's putting it lightly.
But I feel like just making my night be like, you know what, I'm going to have fun with my friends, going to drink, whatever. If something happens, it happens. If something doesn't happen, I'm still with my friends.
Yeah.
I still had fun. Like, just take that weight off your shoulders. There's no need.
I feel like our biggest lesson and kind of how I'm reflecting on what we've talked about so far is just removing these timelines and these expectations from anything going forward, because again, as we've said, taking those away, you'll end up being more abundant and more grateful for what you do end up receiving. And I feel like just living every day thinking like something really good can happen to me this week or something really good can happen to me this month without giving yourself an idea of what it could be, it's just what's ultimately going to make you so much happier and so much more grateful for this new time period in life. So my advice again would just be keep an open heart, keep an open mind, release all these expectations on yourself, and regardless of being about to be postgrad or being postgrad or years postgrad, having that mindset will never hurt you in whatever period of your life you're in. So Keely's advice, and what I hope you get from this, is basically everything I just said, but to give yourself grace and to just find something every week that makes you a little happier.
Love that. My advice, basically, you can still have fun, put time into your friends, and we're so young, and I'm so over everyone thinking that 23 is not a young age. We have so much to learn, and life is fun, and it doesn't have to be boring. We're proof that you can make it not boring, and your life isn't going to end when you're in your early 20s. We have so much time to enjoy life, and that's my final wrap up. We obviously are not professionals, and so the mic, the camera, everything will get better as we go. If you're watching this and you have any recommendations, text me.
If you're not watching this, that means we couldn't figure out the camera, so also just mind your business.
So mind your business. We're going to need commentary if you're watching this, what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear, because we could yap about anything for a really long time.
Oh my God, yeah. But like, please be nice about it. We're just fucking girls.
We're just girls over here. So that is the end of episode 1. Pilot episode. Next time we get on here, we'll have more funny stories. We'll be more established.
100%. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something.
Love you, Keely.
Love you, kid.
And thanks for listening, everyone.